Değerli izleyenler, Spor TV ekranlarından merhabalar. TEB Tennis Stars kapsamında İstanbul'da olan Maria Sharapova konuğumuz. Maria, thank you very much first of all. Welcome to Istanbul.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to be back.
You are here for TEB Tennis Stars series. Are you excited because waiting you 1,500 people?
I know, quite amazing to be back. It's been a few years, and you know, I've had such great success in that stadium, playing the tournament many years ago, but also spending a lot of time in Istanbul. So yeah, it's a short trip for me, but I'm happy that so many people will be there. It's been sold out for a few weeks now, so I look forward to playing in front of everyone.
In addition, what do you think about the Turkish tennis? Because Turkish tennis is development. We have great organizations and great players.
Yeah.
What do you think about?
Well, I think you know, most importantly is realizing that developing tennis talent, whether it's female or male, takes time. You know, tennis is a financially really expensive sport. It takes, you know, from the youth to when you start playing professionally. There are a lot of ups and downs, different paths you can take. You need the right coaches, the right training, the right equipment. So for all of that to come together, it just takes years to build. But there's a lot of excitement around and passion around tennis. I know that football is a big part of this nation, but when we were here for the championships, it was great to see the environment. It was great to see the people and the crowds, and obviously feeling that energy, you know, was one of the reasons why I wanted to come back here and play the exhibition match.
In addition, I think I want to speak your game style.
Okay.
You always find a way to change to match. How do you do?
Well, I think you know, a lot of my career has been based on being you know, realizing that the match is not over until the last point, and so you don't always have to be the best player, you know, or your best version of yourself on that day. You have to be better than who's across the net, and so I've tried to carry that mindset and philosophy with me throughout my career, even though I'm a perfectionist and I want to play great every time, but it's not always there. And so with that, you have to find ways to win. You have to find ways to get through. But it's not just, obviously, it's also physical. So physically, you have to, you know, technically as well. So finding those little ways to win.
You have a great team. How do you work together?
Yeah, well, I realize that everyone on the team, you know, has a different role, but I think more importantly, it's great that everyone has the same vision, and it always works the best when, you know, you have the same goal and the same dream. And obviously, holding championships together is the ultimate, and that's the grand stage. But as a team, you also go through, you know, losses, and you go through adversity, and everyone's a different character, is a different personality. So how do you work together? How do you align yourself? You know, put your ego aside, know who's the leader, know how you can contribute. It's a very interesting process. I've learned a lot with the different teams that I've had. I've had a fair amount of coaches in my career, and at every time in your life and in your period of a professional career, you need different things, and so among that, you maybe carve or change some of the people around, maybe not because you don't like them anymore, but maybe because you're looking for different things. And so it's an interesting balance of finding the right people at the right time.
I want to learn this. What is the secret of your success?
I think the secret of my success is knowing and understanding that at the end of it all, you know, you're really normal. Like, like success, you're on the top of the world, and it's really amazing to feel like you're holding trophies and what you worked for, you're able to achieve. But after everything, every week you have to prove it again, and so it's a difficult cycle. But it's why I love it. You know, to keep showing myself how I can improve, how I can get better, what I can do. So it's an evolution, really. But I think I don't see myself, like when I go to a tournament, I sometimes think, okay, I haven't won it before, even though I've won it, because I want to win it again. So having that mentality and challenge.
You know, Serena will back on January. If you ever get pregnant, would you consider to get back to courts in the future?
Yeah, I've never thought of it that way. I think I would definitely, it's extremely difficult to have kids on its own, but then to be able to travel and compete adds another kind of element of difficulty. And I think I'd really want to be at home a little bit more after my career, and maybe have the opportunity to just be present with my children, but I don't know. There's never like a set path. You know, sometimes you just don't know where you're going to go and how you will feel. Like, I never thought that I would still be competing at 30 years old, and I still feel like I want more. So, yeah, I guess those are surprises in life.
I think this question is maybe hard. What match in your career are you most proud of?
I think that I still have the love for what I do, and I still am really proud of the way that I've come through some of the tough and challenging moments when I think a lot of people would have buckled down and not gotten through them. I faced a lot of adversity in my career and in my life, and I've been able to get through those and to still find ways to challenge and motivate myself in the sport. Because when you've done it for so many years, you have to find ways to keep going and to keep finding the reasons to win. You know, it's when you get on a plane and you're leaving your friends and family and home behind, that's very challenging. But then in the highest of moments, when you're, you know, maybe everyone's having a barbecue and you're holding the championship trophy in front of thousands of people, it's very special, and you realize why you put the work in. So you always have to find that, that right balance, which it's a formula that is very difficult to obtain, but I think once you do, it's very special.
Maria, you are a very great tennis player, and you use social media already, and you share videos of training and maybe sometimes fashion. What do you think about this situation? Because your fans what is the fact?
Yeah, I like social media. I didn't like it in the beginning when Twitter came around and Facebook came around. It just felt I felt like maybe it was giving too much of who you are, because so many people want to know more and more. And I was like, oh no, not yet, not now. And no, I've gotten to appreciate a fan so much more in the last few years, and really understand that they want to know more of who you are, and you know, on a personal level, which I think is very kind. You know, it's very nice that they don't just base it on your results or what you do. They really want to know who you are as a person and character and what you like. And I like, you know, I like sharing parts of my life. I think there's definitely a limit to what I share. There's my personal life, which I stay away from. But in terms of like art and my passions or architecture or fashion, I love sharing that. I like to show them what I like as well, you know, so maybe they can draw inspiration from some things. Yeah.
How did the idea of writing book come out? How did you decide to do this? Because it's important.
Well, I think as a person, you never really think that your upbringing and your story is unique, because you know, you think, oh, everyone, you know, was a child and then they went to school and then they played sports, and then but every time I would do interviews and people would ask me how I came to America and how I became a professional tennis player, they wanted to know more, and they didn't really believe my story of how much work and sacrifice it took to get to where I was. And I think at that point I realized that there was something that I could share with people that they could maybe draw upon, or maybe they could relate to the challenges, the family atmosphere, the emotions that I faced as a young girl and going into a professional career, vulnerability, feeling like you're a winner, how those times change, how do you feel, how do you come through. So I think it wasn't so much about writing a book about tennis, but I think it was a book about the evolution. It was also a lot about the story of my father and I, and how important it was to have this voice that kind of you know, drew this path for me, and that really was unselfish and supported me, especially from a tennis parent perspective, because you have a persona of someone that's a tennis parent that is always very tough and difficult, which he definitely certainly pushed me to be, you know, to be strong and all those things. But at the end of the day, he did it for me, which I thought was very important and critical, and I wanted to share.
This question answer maybe in your book. How would you describe yourself?
It would be a long interview if I started describing myself. I don't like, funny, I don't like, when I give interviews and people ask me about my personality or my character, it's always very difficult to describe yourself. I would hope, and I say this because I'd hope that I'm genuine, that I'm honest, and that I'm real, and I'm authentic. I think those are qualities that I appreciate in other people. So I hope that I'm able to portray that to them as well, because that's, you know, important. But I don't know, I'm also very stubborn and
how do you balance private life or work?
yeah. I think that's one of the toughest things in a professional athlete's career, especially in the amount of time that we travel and really leaving behind a family and your friends and your private life and finding ways to make that work. But I feel like I've done a fairly good job of that. You know, I have a great circle of friends that I love, and all are in different professions and live all around the world, so I try to see them when I can, and I think building those relationships is incredibly important, and just finding time also for you, because when you travel you're always surrounded by people, you know, surrounding by new people, your team. It's also nice to be in your own environment and to learn, you know, a little bit more about yourself. I think that's extremely important too. But it's, you know, balance is tricky, because I think when you're 50-50, maybe you're only good at those two things, and maybe you're not great at one thing. So it's always understanding what's important to you, what does it mean to you, what do you want to get out of it. But yeah.
Do you have a dream project? What is this in the future, maybe?
I have a lot of dreams.
Well, for example.
For example. Look, I think you have to. There's always something that you should look forward to in your life, and whether that's a dream, whether that's a realistic expectation, I think it's healthy and important to look toward that and maybe anticipate it, maybe envision it, maybe work really hard toward it. You know, I don't share my dreams and goals very often, because I think it's very personal and it's more of an individual thing. But I definitely have many of them, and how I do with them or where they take me is another story.
Which one is the hardest? Stay away from courts for a year or play Grand Slam finals?
Both very different. I think staying away from the sport is probably more difficult, just because when you're already in a Grand Slam final, you have the opportunity to win that match, and when you're away from the sport, you don't have the opportunity. You're not in the situation to play in that match. So
finally, tell us something about yourself that possibly not many people already know. A special question.
I feel like so many people know a lot about me, but I think I'm very goofy and silly, and I laugh a lot, and I don't take myself very seriously. I think a lot of people have this very serious persona of myself, where I'm very tough and you know, I want to win, and I pump my fist and I yell, "Come on!" But I think deep down there's a character that's very young and yeah, and just fun, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Değerli izleyenler, Maria Sharapova'nın TEB Tennis Stars kapsamında İstanbul'da olduğunda görüşlerini aldık. Yine görüşmek dileğiyle, hoşça kalın.